We've chosen to live life a little less ordinary. Not getting any younger, we travelled to Tahiti in amongst the corona pandemic, bought a catamaran and set out to sail the South Pacific. This is Phil, I'm Ree, and meet Olive, our 12-year-old black lab. We promise to keep you entertained along the way, and it would be amazing if you would join us on our adventures, sailing Manunu. So remember, we're talking to that. We've got to make a list. What we were going to talk about.
Right, get a bit of paper. Yeah, I have to take this over. It mark the top.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I'll do it. I'll take it over.
Yes, Nana. Okay, so try not to eat like that close up on camera. Sit back a wee bit. Morning.
Hello.
We are going to do...
Morning, Tree.
We're going to do, and remember when we're talking, keep in the traffic.
Look at the green light.
Yeah, look at green light. Hi people. We're going to do a questions and answers episode, an update, because we've had lots of questions.
Oh, have we?
Yeah.
Oh, requests. Marriage requests.
No. Questions.
Stand back.
Private messages.
Back, I say. Back.
From people, which is cool. So we're going to do a little bit of an update. We just have to write down what we need to talk about. Let's just talk about it and not write it down.
All right, then.
So, I think...
So what's the
I think the first thing to say is...
Questions and answers.
Just remember gap in the traffic.
Right.
I think the first thing we need to talk about it is we're videoing in real time. So it's now, we're in May. Our last video ended in December. So we've got December, January, February, March, April, May of cruising around Abel Tasman, and that will continue on with our episodes. Some really good episodes are coming up. But we thought it was really important now that we're back in New Zealand to do a little bit of an update.
Yeah.
In through the nose.
Yeah.
Hold for four.
No, but you know.
Out for 8.
Where do we go?
We've started going back to yoga lessons. And they teach you breathing. Namaste. Anyways. So I'll just do a couple of minutes and then Phil can take over. I'll just do a couple of minutes on questions that we've had. And then Phil can sort of talk about passage and those sorts of things. So we've had a lot of private messages and people coming to see us that have been thinking about doing the same thing, which is really awesome. Really awesome. And, you know, we've got a little bit of advice that we'd like to sort of, to get that in. No, I've had one.
Yeah, no,
we had 2 big, great, huge pieces of apple shortbread, and he
good.
cut them into 4, and I've had 1, and you've had 3. So
it's so good.
No more.
I didn't have much breakfast.
Oh, you did so.
Oh, maybe had a wee bit of breakfast.
So we've had a lot of private messages, and we've actually had some messages people wanting to buy Manunu, and we'll talk about that later. And a lot's happened since we've been back in New Zealand, so I'll just sort of go through a couple of things that people have been asking about. We're on a bit of a lean.
No, we're not. Right, go.
And yeah, so the update is we're in May. Just a quick update. We because we had a couple of people approach us to buy the boat. We have been possibly offered another boat in Tahiti that we looked at actually while we were there, thinking we could never ever afford this boat. But obviously bringing Manunu back here, and by the time we paid taxes, because you know it's 20% tax when you bring a boat back into New Zealand, there's not a lot for sale in New Zealand at the moment, so we are kind of considering it. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. and possibly going back to Tahiti. But you'll
do it again.
Yeah. Because in all honesty, when we were there, we didn't have the 3 month cruise, the 3 month experience we wanted cruising around in Manunu because of lockdown and because they had issues with the generator. So we had to hang around the marina while they got that fixed, and just a number of different things meant that we weren't able to have that experience while we were there. And so we're thinking, well, as much as what we had never envisaged selling her, this would probably be the only way that we could go back there and
do it again.
Yeah. So,
oh, it's got the nudge.
So that's where we're at. We have had lots of questions from people. We've had people coming to visit us, which is amazing and awesome. We only have I think we're at 499 subscribers, which is incredible.
Well, we've been on 499 for 3 weeks.
Yeah, come on, people, subscribe.
On, we need one more.
Yeah, well, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. So share the love, share the video.
Here you go. So what was the main question?
So the main question was, well, apart from people wanting to buy it, obviously there's no boats available in New Zealand. They're all offshore. The main question was surrounding COVID and how we were able to travel in a COVID-infected world. A lot of questions about the crate that we took and the logistics of taking all our own boat stuff. That was which you can talk about. I'll just kind of do the overview and then you can fill in the details. Next question was when we were in Tahiti, you know, who was available to use, surveyors, and obviously crew, which Phil is going to touch base on a little bit after I've sort of given this a little bit of an intro. A lot sort of gone on in the last couple of weeks. I'll be able to get the next episode up today, obviously, which is going to be this, but I've had a few health problems.
She fell over twice and she's got 3 broken ribs. And she's had shingles. But apart from that, she's really good.
Yeah, we've had a bit of, and we've moved off the boat, so we're house sitting at the moment. And so I've really, apart from that, it's been such a busy few weeks. So we'll get this episode up this afternoon, this next episode. And hopefully you'll be able to see a lot of our adventures in and around Abel Tasman, which is the most beautiful part of New Zealand, as you'll see. Yeah, so over to you. So the first thing,
cool. Right.
The first thing I touched base on was COVID and travelling in COVID.
Well, you saw that in our episodes, and I mean we had to be double vaxxed to be able to get into Tahiti, and we had to go halfway around the world to get there. So you've seen that in the episodes. I think that the key thing is that you could make a lot of excuses to say we weren't going to go. So as you know, you could make a lot of excuses about not going. As you know, Ree's got a neurological disorder, and she really didn't want her to get sick. But you could make excuses and do nothing. So we made the choice to go rather than not to go.
First aid is really important too. Talk about first aid. Yeah,
setting up your medical kit to be able to go. And our Dr. Frith Dollamore in Tahuna Nui
Medical Centre. Go, Frith!
Yeah, Frith's great.
Sit on subscribe, Frith.
Yeah, Frith. No,
if you already haven't already.
Frith was great, and we set up our medical kit to go offshore. We bought a few other things like a suture kit, which thank goodness we didn't have to use, but. And we had lots of antibiotics and other creams and things. Which,
morphine.
Yeah, we'll probably might do a thing specifically on that because there is, especially in the tropics, lots of things to look out for. And,
skin infections.
Yeah. Standing on black sea.
Actually, we will. We'll do. Yeah, but anyway, when we go back, we'll do a whole thing on how set up. Yeah,
cool. So the other thing, I think, the crate. The crate was a good thing to do. I think. If we do go back, we'll probably do it again, but we wouldn't take any food or anything like that because Tahiti's great for food. You can get everything that you need for every kind of diet there. It's
especially vegan.
Yeah.
Very good.
There's no problem. There's no problem there.
Expensive, but good.
Boat stuff, you can get like big stuff like repairs, slipping, all that sort of thing done. But if you're going to do something big like an engine or a leg or something like that, you'd need 2 to 3 months lead-in time, because it will have to come from French.
From France?
No, I know, they say French. It's very cool. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
It would have to come from offshore. So,
most of their stuff is from France. A lot of their groceries.
Well, because most of the stuff comes from Europe or France. You could possibly get stuff shipped from the west coast of America as well, but you will be paying duty to get all the stuff in there. So if you know what you need, you can take it over there, and as long as you're taking it away, you won't pay duty on it or tax on it.
That's only if your boat's registered in another country.
In another, yeah. So it has to be. You have to have done the registration thing, which we've done, and also
and it gets listed as boat equipment.
It's not for the faint-hearted though. You'll need 2 to 3 months to set this up. You need to use a shipping agent, and it's not for the faint-hearted. It is quite a big process. So if you're going to take stuff, you probably need to take a couple of cubic meters at least. And other than that, just do hand luggage. Yeah, I'm watching. Other than that, you would just take stuff in hand luggage and pay for an extra bag and take it through.
Well,
so you're either going to go big or small.
I think
nothing in between.
I think carry on. I think if we end up going in a few months, we'll probably take the expensive stuff with us, like the if we end up taking the electronics, yeah. I mean, they would be okay in the crate. Yeah, but obviously we want to get radar.
We took flippers and masks and things. You can buy all that stuff there. It's all good, and it's actually pretty reasonably priced. That stuff about the same as what you'd pay in New Zealand. So all those. But
nice flippers like ours you can't get there. They're only just basic touristy kind of plastic flippers. The dive shop, at that dive shop, they had all that stuff. Right. That one we got to in Nuitarawa. Right. No, they had everything there. Okay. There was cheap stuff there, but they did have good stuff there. Okay. I mean, if you want to take you can't buy stuff like a guitar there. You can't, if you want to take your guitar with you, you need to take that, because you can't buy guitar there or anything. So I'll just chip in here, because I don't do that very often, but so when we took our crate in, make sure you don't have any personal items in your crate, like personal as in...
It's got to be for the boat.
It has to be just for the boat. Yeah. So everything that we took on the crate was for the boat. It was engine parts, spares. We took some food, which was for the boat. Obviously all dried stuff.
Wouldn't do that.
Flippers, coats, wet weather gear, barbecue, sup, anything that's relative to your boat. Because it goes under boat equipment and parts and oils and things.
It can only be that.
Yeah, it can only be that, yeah.
Don't take oils or things. I took oil, and there's heaps of that there. That's all good. You don't have to do any of that. The other thing, then the main thing for us was about the journey back, was about selecting, and we knew nothing. We were...
I know nothing. Who's that?
We all Schultze.
I'll put that in there. Schultze. I know nothing. I can hear it.
We knew nothing.
We knew nothing.
And we thought we'd originally we were going to get the boat delivered by a crew. And we weren't going to go up there, but that was really difficult. And
because of COVID.
Because of COVID, but also I'll be frank that crews are getting good crews is quite difficult to get. So crew, as far as getting crew, if you're going to have someone come back with you, which we needed to because we'd never done a passage and we really hadn't sailed either, and we didn't get as much sailing done in Tahiti while we're there for the reasons we said before, waiting on parts for the boat, and also waiting on a skipper to take us out. They were all really busy. They were all out, and it took a couple of 3 weeks to even get someone to just go out with us for a day. Yeah, and they'd had lockdown and all that sort of stuff. So but getting an actual crew and a reliable crew was actually really difficult, and we thought we'd sort of done the due diligence thing, but the things to look for really are about somebody's ability to be able to passage plan, and also use
passage and weather.
Passage and weather. Well, passage is weather. So being able to plan the passage, being able to use the tools that are available, like Predict Wind, which is just fantastic. Predict Wind offshore, and we use Navionics with Predict Wind offshore. But somebody who knows how to use that, because we didn't.
We learned really quickly.
We learned really
quickly. That was great.
We learned really quickly. But actually, sailing the boat is actually I've got to say, sailing the boat is actually relatively straightforward once you learn. This cat is very easy to sail. She's very forgiving. She's pretty fast.
It's a beautiful boat.
Yeah, and the sails and the rig are really simple. Once you learn the fundamentals of where the wind's coming from and how to set the sails, which doesn't take a huge amount of time. I'm not saying we're experienced sailors, but we could make it move, almost straight away.
She's beautiful. And the other thing, the reason why she moves so well in the water, this boat, is opposed to like a lagoon or a leopard, is that she's so much lighter.
Yeah, she's 4 ton lighter.
She's a really good sailing boat.
But what the trick in the whole thing is so sailing it, yep, making it move, actually navigating, getting from one point to another. That's using the electronics, Navionics. It's actually relatively straightforward. But having being in the right place at the right time to have the right wind to go to that place is the trick.
Yeah,
and that doesn't take 5 minutes. That takes years. And
planning a departure.
Yeah. So that takes years
of experience. That's why we use Bob in the end.
Yeah. So as you know, we use Bob McDavitt. But any weather, any well-known and professional weather outer would be able to do that for you. And I think we'd still use it. Still do that again. Yeah. Still use a router again, even
two. Yeah.
But being able to have somebody on board who actually knows about that, or who can do that plan, is pretty critical. And so they are the questions to ask any crew that are going with you, especially if it's somebody who you're employing as a captain. And actually getting references from people who have been with this person before is really critical. You must talk to somebody else about the experience with the person.
And we didn't.
I know we didn't. So, it's... these are things that, hindsight's 2020.
And we've learned a lot, and we've come back so much more learned doctors.
Learned doctors.
Hillbillies. This is a house of learned doctors.
And, in hindsight, we probably didn't make the right choice. We learned so much, and we really had to step up, and that was such an experience for us.
And a real thing out to Mark Jennings and on Murray.
Hey, Mark!
Who Mark and Kay are actually here in Nelson and have been for a couple of months now, and we've been cruising around with them, and you'll see some videos coming on. So shortly, Murray was Manunu's sister ship for 10 years in Tahiti, and now they're together here in Nelson, which is pretty cool. And Mark was great. Every night we'd catch up for a sarsaparilla.
Pilot, he's a pilot, so he knows weather systems really well.
And he started teaching us about how to use the program, and that was how we knew that the person that we had with us wasn't capable of doing that. Because, if you're coming from Tahiti to New Zealand, the weather pattern starts down around the bottom of Tasmania, and it comes around and up around the top of New Zealand and across, and you're looking 2 to 3 weeks out in front.
Thank God for Mark.
But was relying on someone else to do that.
Yeah. Actually, Mark, in the end, ended up having a very similar experience to us with a captain that he hired, because Mark had never sailed, done a passage like that. And he actually ended up hiring someone, same thing, that this guy had never ever sailed a cat before and wasn't familiar with the system. So, you know, similar sort of thing. And there was only 2 of them, so...
Sailing a cat is different.
And actually, Pearl, we did not listen to you. Pearl said to me, sailing a cat is totally different to sailing a monohull.
Yeah, it is.
And we learnt that. But anyway, I mean, even, you know, like, you know, even the first problem we came up with, when you're out and you're putting your sails up and keeping your nose into the wind, in a catamaran, because this boat's so light and cats are so light, you know, unlike, like on a monohull, you can just turn your nose into the wind and put the sails up. In a cat, you can't do that without propulsion. So, yeah, the first big faux pas was because of that.
Yeah, and they have so much windage on them.
Yeah.
You know, even looking in the cockpit there, I mean, we came back the other day and we had 20 knots behind us. We had nothing up and we were doing 7 knots. So, yeah, and I mean, we didn't put a drogue out or anything, but, yeah, they have huge windage.
Yeah. So that's the other thing.
So getting crew, it seems as though this is a bit of a global problem. That getting good crew, you know, there's lots of people around that say that they're good crew, but really do your due diligence on that.
Check your references.
And get evidence.
Yeah,
get real evidence about it.
Good with electronics.
I mean, it's a huge difference.
The other thing is, when you hire crew, number one rule, which we kind of did know, and it kind of annoyed us a wee bit, never ever sleep on shift. Crew should never sleep on shift. Seriously, you do not, when you're on a 4-hour shift, do not sleep. That has to be a thing. This is your allocated time, 12 to 4 a.m. The rule is crew should never sleep on shift.
Yeah. Oh well, apparently so. Anyhow, and yeah. Look,
so dangerous. Okay, moving on.
The other thing is that it's no. Maybe this should have been first. Is that it's not for the faint-hearted to go through this process.
It's not a walk in the park. You need nerves as strong as steel.
To find a boat and then to go through the process of actually buying it, finding a surveyor, you know, offshore. If you're not going to, at the time, it was out of the question for us because of COVID to actually go and look at the boat.
Physically see it, yeah.
So we bought a sight unseen, but had found a good surveyor in Tahiti who was trustworthy, and that was thanks to the Sailing family, because we watched some of their episodes, especially in Bora where their boat was broke the mooring ball and was damaged, and Christoph was the surveyor who came and looked at it, and that's how we got.
God, that hurts. Sorry, broken ribs.
So
don't laugh.
So it's not. Yeah, it's no small thing.
I
the relationship with the seller, which was very good, because Tahiti Yacht Charters was,
seriously, I think, but you know, by the time we got there, Segalini and Bertrand and everybody at Tahiti Yacht Charters, like, thank God they're here.
Yeah, no, thank God they're gone.
Because we were new to it, you know, I think I saw about 100 email to Segalene the other day, and oh my God, but they were so good anyway. So I think everything that we've talked about, and knowing what we know now, if we do end up selling Manunu, and we've got 2 people really, really keen to buy her, obviously, because there's nothing in New Zealand. We actually had never thought that we would do this, but because we never had that experience, I think we're a little bit tempted, as much as what we love her. I think what we'll do is, now that we know we'll film everything with a little bit more detail this time if we do end up going, like the crate, what to put in it, the first aid. We'll be able to video that with in a much more detailed capacity, I think, which will be good for people to see. Yeah,
look, Manunu's a great boat, and she's sitting here in her berth. She likes it here in Nelson and everything. But if we're going to do this again, I mean, you know, 62, nearly 60, we're still fresh in our minds how we put the recipe together to get up there. We didn't really achieve what we wanted to achieve in and around Tahiti, and we really wanted to island hop home. So if we can do that this year, again,
that'll be cool video for everyone.
What we'd really want to do is island hop home,
Tonga, Fiji, home,
and spend a good couple of months in Tahiti, which is just cruising around, which we really didn't get to do. We really only had a couple of weeks
in Bora.
And so, yeah, I'd really like to do that, and you know, would really like to go back there. And if we're going to do it, now's the time to do it, which is quite bizarre, really.
We're sort of in between at the moment. Like, our kids are 31 and 27. We're in between, you know, grandchildren. So we're kind of thinking, let's just get out there and make the most of our lives before littlies come along, because, you know, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be, yeah, what do I call it? Baby struck.
Yeah.
Nonny struck when we have littlies run around.
So, yeah, so to continue on with the preparation of the boat.
No pressure, kids.
The preparation of the boat in Tahiti to get it ready to sail, just so critical. Yeah. Checking the rigging and the sails, because once again on passage they're up all the time. That's what you're relying on. But you know, the survey.
We had brand new sails.
Yeah,
These
the
sails
survey
are absolutely beautiful. Elstrom sails are beautiful sails.
Yeah, but I mean, we got there and thought, oh great, you know, we've got 400 litres of fuel. Woohoo! You know, well, so 400 litres of fuel is a couple of $1,000. It's actually, you're better off to.
But we didn't know. They said that they emptied it and cleaned it. We didn't know that had that much. How much? Sludge at the bottom. 50
litres in each tank was just.
We didn't know
was just
that.
crap
Anyway.
of in each 200 litre tank, which was a quarter of the tank. But the I mean, if you are reliant on your engines, which we did a 2-day motor to go, you know, that southern leg before we turned onto the top of that anti-cyclone.
Yeah.
So yeah, sure, we used them for that. But you know, every day you've got to run the engines for a couple of hours, at least a couple of hours, about 11 o'clock at night, to get you through the night, and you know, 7 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, again before the sun gets on the solar, if it's going to.
So yeah, so
if your motor's
let's do a recap. You know, like a, what do you call it? Let's do a summary.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if anybody, you know, is looking at you know, even from Australia or you know, Fiji, if anybody is looking for for extra crew. Move over.
Oh. Do you think? Yeah, 150 foot 7 knots.
We wouldn't captain it, but we'd be happy to crew. I'm a good cook. You've probably seen a few episodes.
She's actually a really good watch. She's really good on watch. She's really good on watch. She did a turn and watch 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock every day.
So that's our little catch-up episode. If anybody has any questions, feel free to private message us. Lots of people have. You can catch up with us on Facebook. You can messenger us. Messages below. You know, ask us something in the message below, and please subscribe. Yeah. So I'll just show you. No, you put top of that. You're sitting in Manu, no?
It's a bit of a gloomy day.
It's a gloomy day. It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Great day to have broken ribs.
It's yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Please subscribe.
Ring the bell.
Look out for next week's episode.
Yeah. Spread the word.
So we've got an update.
502 subscribers. 502.
Subscribe.